Jaya Rama Kunjabi Gopi Jana Baba Girivarnari Yasodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Rama Kunjabi Jaya Radha Kunjabi Radha Kunjabi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Jaya Radha Kunjabi Hare Radha Kunjabi Hare Hare Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Balaji Mai Subhadra Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Bhagavatam Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Stolder Satyashishimara's divine grace, Pandra Viskanabhai, Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki, their most merciful Lordship Shri Shrimadbhagavatam ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mani Subhadra ki, Shri Nathaji Shri Balagopal ki, Shri Shri Gornitai ki, Nitai Goprim. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Uttamam
Devam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraya.
Tato Jayamudiraya.
Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistaki.
Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki.
Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 28. Text 28. Manye
Manye
Tvam
Tvam
Kalam
Kalam
Isanam.
Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Isanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Anadi
Anadi
Nidhanam
Nidhanam.
Vibhum.
Vibhum
Anadi Nidhanam Vibhum.
Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Samam
Samam
Charantam
Charantam
Sarvatra.
Sarvatra.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Bhutanam
Bhutanam
Yan Mita Kali.
Kali.
Bhutanam Yan Mita Kali.
Bhutanam Yanmita Kali.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Bhutanam Yan Mita Kali.
Bhutanam Yanmita Kali.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Bhutanam Yan Mita Kali.
Bhutanam Yanmita Kali.
Please chant.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Anadi Nidhanam Vibhum.
Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Bhutanam Yanmita Kali.
Bhutanam Yan Mita Kali.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam.
Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam. Anadi Nidanam Vibhum.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Samam Charantam Sarvatra.
Bhutanam Yanmita Kali.
Bhutanam Yanmita Kali. Manye,
Manye
I consider Tvam, your Lordship, Kalam, the eternal time, Ishanam, the Supreme Lord,
Supreme Lord.
Anadi Nidhanam,
Anadi Nidhanam.
without beginning and end,
Without beginning and end.
Vibhum,
Vibhum.
all pervading,
All pervading.
Samam,
Samam.
equally merciful,
Equally merciful.
Charantam,
Charantam.
distributing,
Distributing.
Sarvatra,
Sarvatra.
everywhere,
Everywhere.
Bhutanam,
Bhutana.
of the living beings,
Of the living beings.
Yatmita,
Yatmita.
by intercourse,
By interest.
Kali,
Kali.
dissension,
Dissension.
Manye Tvam Kalamishanam Anadi Nidanam Vibhum Samam Charantam Sarvatra Bhutanam Yamita Kali. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the Supreme Controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissension between living beings are due to social intercourse. Please repeat. My Lord,
My Lord,
I consider your lordship
I consider your Lordship
to be eternal time,
to be eternal time,
the supreme controller,
the supreme controller,
without beginning and end,
without beginning and end,
the all-pervasive one.
the all-pervasive.
In distributing your mercy,
In distributing your mercy,
you are equal to everyone.
you are equal to everyone.
The dissensions between living beings
The dissensions between living beings
are due to social intercourse.
are due to social intercourse.
My Lord, I consider your lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. Purport by His Divine Grace, Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Kunti Devi knew that Krishna was neither her nephew nor an ordinary family member of the paternal house. She knew perfectly well that Krishna is the primeval Lord who lives in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, Paramatma. Another name of the Paramatma feature of the Lord is Kala, or eternal time. Eternal time is the witness of all our actions, good and bad, and thus resultant reactions are destined by Him. It is no use saying that we do not know why and for what we are suffering. We may forget the misdeed for which we may suffer at this present moment, but we must remember that Paramatma is our constant companion. And therefore, He knows everything, past, present, and future. And because the Paramatma feature of Lord Krishna distance all actions and reactions, He is the supreme controller also. Without His sanctions, not a blade of grass can move. The living beings are given as much freedom as they deserve, and misuse of that freedom is the cause of suffering. The devotees of the Lord do not misuse their freedom, and therefore they are the good sons of the Lord. Others who misuse freedom are put into miseries destined by the eternal Kala. The Kala offers the conditioned souls both happiness and miseries. It is all predestined by eternal time. As we have miseries uncalled for, so we may have happiness also without being asked, for they are all predestined by Kala. No one is therefore either an enemy or a friend of the Lord. Everyone is suffering and enjoying the result of his own destiny. This destiny is made by the living beings in course of social intercourse. Everyone here wants to lord it over the material nature, and thus everyone creates his own destiny under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. He is all-pervading, and therefore He can see everyone's activities. And because the Lord has no beginning or end, He is known also as Eternal Time, Kala. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshusumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave. Here we are seeing that it's being pointed out that Queen Kunti was aware of the fact that Krishna was the Supreme Person, and we know that there are others who were in the very same company and didn't recognize the fact that Krishna was the Supreme Lord. I've been reading from Canto 6, and I had made a mention several classes ago, maybe a couple of months ago, that it is not required of a woman to have to perform the same devotional activities as her husband, if her husband is faithful. And so after having said that, now I come upon that in the scriptures. And now when I try to go back and find it, again, this is the same thing. Where it is found is King Chitraketu had committed offenses, and then the mother of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasipu, because of her grief for the fact that Lord Vishnu had killed her sons, she wanted revenge. She wanted to get him back. So, if a woman in her position, having given birth to demons, could find the power established by the Supreme Person himself to be able to, it's funny because the mantra that's given, if she completes the vow of austerity, then she will be able to overcome Lord Vishnu. But if she does not, then he will become her friend. So this is how the mantra was. But it is described in the descriptions that it is not required of a woman to perform austerities. And so that if she simply follows the instructions of her husband, and here we are again.
I heard that whatever devotional service is done by husband, 50% of that credits will be accumulated by husband.
Yes, they both share it together. So, Pungsavan, ritualistic ceremony. Oh, so let's see. Oh, but I am a fool. Okay, this is not it either. Although those who are interested only in worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not desire anything material from the Lord and do not even want liberation, Lord Krishna fulfills all their desires. The ultimate goal of all ambitions is to become a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If an intelligent man serves the most dear Lord, who gives himself to his devotees, how can he desire material happiness, which is available even in hell? O my mother, O best of all women, I am a fool. Kindly excuse me for whatever offenses I have committed. Your 49 sons have been born unhurt because of your devotional service. As an enemy, I cut them to pieces, but because of your great devotional service, they did not die. This is speaking of he cut them first into 7 pieces, and then again, he took those into 7 pieces. And so there were 49. Sukadeva Goswami continued, Diti was extremely satisfied by Indra's good behavior. Then Indra offered his respects to his aunt with profuse obeisances. And with her permission, he went away to the heavenly planets with his brothers, the Maruts. So this was Lord Indra who entered into the womb of Diti. But I'll have to find that again to bring this point out. But see, devotees are surpassing in their surrender to Krishna and their surrender to Srila Prabhupada's instructions. They are surrendering at this point in time in which Krishna is empowering them to fully engage all of their senses. So both the husbands and wives in this age are engaging in the process of Krishna consciousness, which now is also including all four processes. In previous ages, one process was given for a spiritual advancement to go back to Godhead, and now in this age, we are taking part in all four processes. So, I was reading as well in this Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 6, how when a devotee reaches a certain stage of performing the 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Bandhanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasanam, Shakyam, Atmanivedanam. So once he becomes fully aware of all of these 9 processes and familiar with them and engaging in them, which in Krishna consciousness is normal activities for the devotees, and we're engaging in these processes every day, then it is revealed in Bhagavatam that Krishna gave to a soul who had developed these abilities to perform these functions, he extended his life, because otherwise then he would have to start all over again, and he retained his memory of his previous life. So this reveals to us how valuable, even to Krishna, every one of these processes that he is giving. I mean, even the fact that it gives liberation, any one of these processes gives liberation. So then what to speak if a devotee is engaging in every single one of these processes? Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worshiping, becoming a friend, serving, and giving also Krishna's teachings. Now that we have this, that we are being given, this that we are being given, we can see is giving us a superior position to be able to look through the history being described as though this were taking place in front of our eyes. And we can see and know the background of each of the participants in the activities that are going on and their relationship with Krishna. Whereas if we were actually there, we would ourselves be only attending to the thoughts that we're attending to towards Krishna ourselves. But we have this very unique viewpoint, which was given to Sanjaya to see the battlefield and how it was taking place. But the reading of Shrimadbhagavatam gives us the very same ability. As we're reading, we can envision in our minds this assembly taking place and all of the activities going on. So you have a very unique position and opportunity being given very freely with us to be able to exercise any one of those that we feel most familiar with, any one of those positions. And those positions that we find we would aspire towards are then also made available to us. So doors of opportunity. By practicing Krishna consciousness, automatically the senses of the body being purified, then are able to be used to the utmost perfection. When we are being given instructions about what to eat, what not to eat, what to avoid, when to rise, when to take rest, how long to sleep, what things to speak of, All these general activities we think of through the day as just normal activities are specifically given to devotees to engage so that their lives can become perfected. That's what we are aiming for. The perfection of life means, and it is these sacred literatures that give us the understanding of what the perfection of life means. When one finally comes to the state of surrendering to the Supreme Person, it puts them in the position for Krishna to be able to make opportunities for them that wouldn't otherwise be available. Because so many souls on this planet there are that Krishna wants to reach out to and give this truth about him. And so here we are as vessels having that truth within us, understanding that truth and sharing that truth with each other every day. Then we have the very need that people are looking for in the material world to find satisfaction and happiness. It is Krishna they're looking for. And it is the understanding given by these sacred literatures of the proper place in our lives for everything that we are finding ourselves having to deal with. And how to overcome the control of the material energy. That in fact, as it's described here, Krishna is controlling everything by his laws. So people may blame God. It's God's fault that all these things happen. But no, the laws are set up in such a way that the laws are enacted by the acts that we take part in. So Krishna is allowing us to fulfill in this material universe the desires of our heart, so that we, by learning that those desires of our heart are not for the purification of love, for the experience of pure love. And then when we go through enough experiences in this material world to find out that nothing in this material world does provide the satisfaction we're looking for, which is eternal love, then finally we come to surrender to Krishna, then this is the beginning. Surrender is the beginning. And then as we continue then, it takes years. And in the case of very advanced souls, it takes lifetimes. Brahma gets to his position after 100 births in Vedic society. But we are even being given, think about this, this elevation to the spiritual world, this place Brahma has, all the Brahmas in the material universe, is nothing, comparatively speaking. They're in a position they could fall from and then have to come back down into a place like this earth. But we are in a place to be able to now grab onto this philosophy that takes us back in this very life, that can take us back to the spiritual world. And we don't have to take birth again. As long as our hearts are free from the desires to enjoy things in this material world, then we can experience the things in the spiritual world. But as long as we are holding on to the desires for pleasures in this material world, Krishna is not going to force us. Although Lord Chaitanya says he's going to grab us by the sika and bring us back. Because service to Lord Chaitanya then is even more dear to Krishna than service directly to him, because he's playing the role of a servant. There is an idea amongst practitioners of spirituality that when people surrender to God, then they immediately go directly to God. Right? That's what people have in mind. That you're directly communicating now with God. Which, that truth is there. And God has always been there. But again, it has to do with the laws He has made and designed so that the laws themselves, truth itself, contains justice within it. So, as those who are seeking truth find truth, then they find relief as well from all those activities that otherwise would have been cause for them to have to suffer serious punishments. This process we are being given removes us from the effects of all the accumulated karmic reactions we previously caused. So right now, we're in a place of peacefulness and contentment and satisfaction. So many of us that are taking this process seriously to heart. And in that state of consciousness, we can know we are free from that otherwise we would be suffering from if we did not have this process to engage in. And we would be wondering. See, we know now where our suffering comes from. By just reading these scriptures, we know it is by our past activities. And so we know how to stop these future reactions from happening. It's just simply by now, rather than using the activities of these physical bodies for our own sense gratification, for our own desires to be fulfilled, then we use them for Krishna's desires. Krishna is accepting food, so when we buy food, now we don't buy food for ourselves anymore. We don't buy drink for ourselves. We don't buy anything for ourselves. Everything is bought now for the spiritual purpose of fulfilling Krishna's purpose, God's will in our lives. We wear the kind of clothing He advises and reveals in the spiritual world. We have the kind of thoughts and association that we share with one another about the eternal activities that people are talking about in the spiritual world as well. And by experiencing that, then it fulfills within us that we would otherwise be desiring that is of such a less satisfying nature. Because all these other forms of pleasure that we think of as having the ability to satisfy these physical senses are of a temporary nature. But that which gives satisfaction to the soul, because the soul is itself of an eternal nature, then it is only that same kind of substance that can give it the reciprocative experience to the participant who engages in that eternal energy of bhakti. So this is why chanting, dancing, singing, taking prasadam, and sharing these truths, we can find such satisfaction in, because all of these things are provoking within us that eternal energy that we are made of. And so because nothing else can do that to us, it is that prodding of that spiritual energy and that spiritual association we're giving each other that keeps us going, keeps us on the path. Like the statement, man doesn't live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So in one sense, that can also mean we came out of God's body. I was reading also in the 6th canto about when the time came that Manus, they were not producing as rapidly as they could. So then, Krishna created what it is said, described as the better half of, out of the better half of man, then he created another form of life that would enable him, by engaging with, to create progeny. And this is the process we're engaged in now for the production of children. But this was not always the way. And the consciousness that has come to be developed since that time has allowed the false ego to enter into our lives with desire for satisfaction aside from that which the eternal soul itself is made of. Because we're not tapping into the eternal substance of the soul if we find ourselves still looking for pleasures outside of what the soul itself is made of. So this is the meaning of self, satisfied. And this is the state of existence that a purified soul can be brought to, can eventually come to. And then he doesn't have any desires for anything. And then that soul reaching that state, and he comes directly into Krishna's presence. But we don't look at ourselves as having direct contact with the person, the supreme person that Krishna is in Vrindavan, in Krishna Loka. We gain access by developing a strong relationship with Paramatma, who is super soul within us, who is part and parcel of the Supreme, but not the absolute Supreme Person himself. Simultaneously, Paramatma and Krishna are the same person, but simultaneously they're different. Same and different. And so the soul, the substance is the same substance as Krishna, but it can never be Krishna. So just like your body is made of the same substance as my body is, but I can never be you. And this is the problem with what we call Mayavad. And this is what many people come to believe is what God wants us to become. Like Him, we become God, right? By meditating on God, then eventually by becoming perfect, then we become God ourselves. But to believe this would mean that God Himself could be brought under the illusion of His own energies, which would make His energy more powerful than God Himself, which is what these people believe. Which Mayavadi is suggesting that the energy of God is more powerful than God Himself. And so we have to look for what we have access to have knowledge of. When you look at a person who is very powerful, let's look at the athletic position of a boxer in a ring. It's very powerful, right? But it is by his own will and decisions that he is choosing the actions that he's engaging himself in. But if both boxers are God, then one God can beat the other God. So they're not all powerful. They're not all powerful. In the case of Krishna, and we see Krishna's strength is Balaram. So Balaram has qualities that Krishna is not revealing that he has himself, but he puts a particular amount of his energy in various aspects of his personalities so as to reveal the complete perfection of those qualities. Just as in Shrimati Radharani, the complete perfection of love. She is love embodied. Balaram is strength and ecstasy or bliss. Also, Nityananda, eternal bliss. He is that. Krishna plays the role of the source of everything. And so there are qualities. Krishna playing the flute is a quality that he holds uniquely in that position as complete ruler and total control of everything. So there are 64 qualities that Krishna is complete in. And then each of his expansions have those to a certain extent, as described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Now the soul, the jiva, Tatma, can gain certain aspects of those qualities to a certain degree. And in that way we are part of that. When we are all completed, then the whole will be complete. But there will always be jiva tattvas in Krishna's body that want to be Krishna. And that's the problem. So I don't know if there will ever be a time in which there will no longer be living entities in the material universe. I don't know that there will ever be a time. Because there are so many living entities as well. The mind that we have cannot conceive of how many living entities that there are, even just within this universe. But then think about it. If we can't conceive of how many living entities there are within this universe, we also cannot conceive of how many universes there are. And each of them being themselves inconceivable. So we have an inconceivable number of universes that are each and every one of them inconceivable, holding an inconceivable number of souls within them. And so within each and every one of those universes, there is this samsara going on. Birth, death, old age, and disease, and the 4 seasons going on continuously for the extent of the lives of all the living entities within those universes. So it's a continuous. And we've been going around in this endless circle? Again, it's inconceivable of how long we have been going around in this circle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So, seeing this then creates within us, or should create within us, a deep appreciation for this opportunity of lifetimes that is being given to get once and for all out of the control of the material energy. Simply by replacing what is temporary with what is eternal. And see, we look at it as though it's some difficult thing for us, impossible to do in this lifetime. And yet it's being made as a simple process. The process will complete itself if we take up this chanting wholeheartedly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By taking up this process then, Krishna is advising to let his energy do the work in our lives and trust in him that he will open up the doors that we don't even know exist. doors of opportunity, made available for our more perfect advanced state of consciousness that we will be in the future, when we will be qualified to be able to fulfill that responsible position Krishna wants to put us in. Whether it's distributing his books, going door to door, distributing foodstuffs, communicating with political leaders, whatever that position Krishna may find for us, we have to stop thinking we have to figure it out for ourselves. And realize surrender is not a weakness. Surrender to Krishna is not a weakness. Yes, surrender is a weakness to those who are trying to overpower you. But Krishna is wanting to empower us. And he's showing us how to become empowered by his spiritual energy, by his all-powerful spiritual energy. More than we want to. We have to realize Krishna wants, so it is by our will, it is by our own desire that we have to change, to give Krishna also the desire to take over our lives. By just surrendering, Krishna, you take over. And then the more we apply the principles that we learn about through the study of these books, then the more we're proving to Krishna that, yes, I do want to do what you want me to do. I do want to give up my own ways. Because I see what my own ways were leading me to do and how much suffering I was going through when I am going through my own ways. Got to get away from the belief that fulfilling my desires is the goal of life. I did it my way. No. And that's what's being done by 90% plus of the population. Everybody's doing it their way. And so we continue wars, rumors of wars, frustration, pain and suffering, disasters, catastrophes, earthquakes, storms. We have flooding going on in Vrindavan right now. I'm praying to Krishna it's not so severe as it was in Mayapur. A few years back, water came all the way up to the lotus feet of the deities in Mayapur. There were snakes in the temple room. That's how high the water came. So we have the same threat going on worldwide, which we're not aware of. Some people are taking great effort to make people aware of the thing, but they're misunderstanding the cause, the purpose behind it, and the eventual result. The result will be for the good of all humanity. It will realign the axis that we are currently believing is necessary for seasons. Yeah, it's necessary for seasons, but we are going through extremes with the seasons that we don't know. Even tipping the earth 3-4 degrees closer towards would make the entire planet more moderate. And this is how the earth is controlled over the seasons of the universe. For mankind to be able to be experiencing according to the accumulative karma, the resultant environmental circumstances that all of their combined activities create on every single planet. The planets are lined up in such a way, all the accumulative energies are designed so scientifically. Everything reacts, it's described in Bhagavatam, to the extent of the blade of grass moving by the wind. It's all happening exactly carried out by the laws of karma. How exact those laws have been made. Even the name, when we say justice, there is a manifestation of the completeness of justice that takes place when people leave their bodies in perfection to the extent that it can completely purify the soul, which can't be touched by fire or burn, can't be touched by water or cut by a knife, nothing like that. But Krishna has a way in the universe for every single kind of activity, every single soul has committed. Every act, every soul has committed. There is a reaction for every single one of those actions. Perfect reaction. Exact reaction. And it is those laws that govern reactions that eventually is made to bring the soul gradual process. As the soul denies God, as the soul rejects God, as the soul speaks evil of God's ways and like that, he forces himself into another form of life that will not allow him to make progress again into the human form for a long, long, long time. As I was discussing previously, there are even hellish planets to make the living entities so comfortable to be there, they don't want to leave the material world. There are hells like that, made for the inhabitants to like it there. As confusing as it may seem. But see, that's what desire, if we desire to enjoy separate from Krishna, Krishna's made a way for that to happen if you want that. So we have to be very careful about what kind of desires we contrive in our minds. If we find ourselves contriving ideas for our futures that is not coinciding with the will Krishna has to perfect us, we're going to cut ourselves short. And it will be us doing it. And all of these people coming into suffering in bodies that they believe are innocent. You see people, children, 5, 6, 7 years old, suffering, born into suffering. And then people, it may be delayed sometimes. They don't start suffering until they're 20, 30, 40 years old. They don't know why, though. And they don't know how they brought it upon themselves. It looks like this is why a mind is trying to justify accidents. Because if there is such a thing and it's an accident, then it's not my fault. Then I don't have to take responsibility for it. And then I don't have to change. I can keep doing whatever I want to do. This is the way the mind works. And this is why we have the human condition as it is. The mind is trying to find ways of not doing what it's supposed to. Yeah, we find ways out of doing what is right and trying to justify it. And Krishna, the thing is, Krishna actually gives us a means to do that, which is why we really have to be careful. Because Krishna knows that deep embedded desire in our hearts that brought us here to begin with. And if that's what we want, He'll give it to us. So that's why we have to develop the desire for Krishna and His the experience of eternalness. Whether that can be experienced in these physical bodies, I don't know. But I do know that love in its purest state is being described as an attainable goal. And so I want to aim for that. Because to me, I don't know, anybody listening to this, if they have something that they think is higher than that, I'd like to know if there is anything higher than pure love of God. And if there is, somebody have to convince me. Because I'm not convinced yet that there is anything higher.
No.
And I've looked.
No, nothing.
Can't say we're not looking. And studying every day, reading every day, praying every day, chanting every day, taking spiritual food every day. It's the only thing we know to do. And so if anybody can teach us something better, they'll get us there faster, then we'll do that. So, anybody got any questions, any comments, any realizations you'd like to share? And if you do, please step right up to the microphone. Help us hear the question being made. Shrimadbhagavatam, ki jai, Srila Prabhupada, ki jai.